the last class clearly. And the other wall, which is lateral wall, which is already a high wall, so we will require only partial portion of it to be made parallel with the medial wall, right? So otherwise, mainly the anterior and posterior wall are going to be perpendicular with our main reference, that is medial wall. We have not still started any modification in this. We just had done little bit modification. We have started with this, right? So our main focus in the last class was basically to showcase that how these dent points are going to be important, because once you started modification, this dent will go. This dent is the only way to safeguard, right? Yes. So there are names at the top. See, already there is a name, there is a marking, so we can easily measure with the measurement tape. We already have the, whatever we have done modification, but these marks are still there. So these are the precautions. That was the question. We have to take care of the precaution that the medial wall is okay, that the dents are there, that your measurement, once you open it, your measurement taken at the same position over the patient that you have taken. So whether it is how much, just note down with respect to your already taken measurement. That means over the patient you have taken certain measurement. At the same level, just write down the current measurement. That will be larger, just because we know that these are the, it is going to fill. Once you fill with the plaster, basically this portion gets more swell just because it's more open, right? This portion is closed, so normally you will find that this area lesser volume is not that much changed, but in the proximal area you will find that the volume will be larger than the whatever volume you have taken over the patient. So we will be knowing, okay, whatever the measurement of the patient, we already know, that is already noted, right? What is the measurement of the patient, that is already noted at particular level, that means let's say the lowest point of the IT. From there, equal distances down, we had taken a measurement. Those measurements are already there, and at the same point now you have to write down the correct measurement of the positive mode without any modification. These are the important precautions that we will be taking care of. Another important point, we are not going to disturb the shape as much as possible, because we say that during modification we create certain loading and therefore we D-shape the positive mold, but D-shaping should be done to the minimum, because we will be that way disturbing the pressure distribution all over, right? So whenever we find that certain area of soft tissue are very much soft and certain area of soft tissue are very much hard over the patient's tongue, therefore we will be understanding, okay, we can reduce more material from the posterior side. Let's say the posterior soft tissue is little more softer compared to the anterior, because anterior there are lesser tissue. So if you reduce little more in the posterior, maybe there will be D-shaping. So keeping in mind that your compression is already come with the casting. During casting that compression has come because of the soft tissue which is pressable, which is already gone pressed because of the compression of the bandage. Keeping that in mind, we should not be disturbing shape of the positive mold. Whatever modification, most of the modification already done during the casting, that we must be caring for. Okay, whatever modification, what is the biomechanical loading, that loading is already given during the casting. So I will say this stage of our modification is just giving little more clearness, smoothness, final rounding. It's not for doing much work of plaster reduction. Definitely in the because the volume has got swelled, so you have to reduce the volume for sure, to the extent of reduction value, right? What is reduction values for this particular patient? Long stem for muscle. Long stem for muscle, particular value was there. 3%. Yes, the minimum it will be. The opposite it will be yes, more. So keeping this in mind, we will be doing our first measurement, whatever our position of first measurement that I have to find. How well I find, just because I have done certain modification, so I have to find it. Give me one manual of it. See, there is already dent, that dent has just increased. See that there was not shown to be any dent, but I can easily see and I can create it again. Here we are. So you can measure if you find any difficulty in finding the. So you just see what is the difference between two levels. So if I see this is 4 centimeters. Okay, so 4 centimeter equal distances are there. So therefore here also it should be 4 centimeters. That means this should be our point. Right, because all are equal distances, so we can use this. And you can get the hole easily. See, again I got the same hole. So this is your understanding. The modification is so much helpful that even if I have reduced and I have lost those holes, again I am getting them just because they are equal distances. Already there is a deep dent, so that easily it can be found. So we are already having this measurements. Okay. Now I'll be just measuring this. Have you measured this? Can we one time or not? No. See, this is the biggest mistake if I am doing a positive mode modification, that I have not done any measurement. I started reduction. That would have been more irreversible. What I should have done is, just when I opened it, just after removing little bit of ridges they are there. So just after reducing the ridges, I must take the measurement, initial measurement. And that must be written in front of the measurement taken over the patient body. And then I will be comparing, I will be able to understand. Sometimes there will be swelling at certain level, and certain level there is almost equal value that you want. Let's say our distance value, this we want 0% reduction. So let's say on the patient it was, on our model, let's say this was approximately 40 mm, 40 centimeters. 40 centimeter, let's say on the patient it was 40 centimeter, not 40. It will be 35, let's say. So if it is 35 centimeter over the patient, and at present if you measure, it is maybe it is equal to 35 only, or maybe it is lesser, just because you have compressed it very much, and therefore volume is of this side is reduced and the soft tissue has shifted upward, and therefore the volume is lesser than the whatever measurement you had on the patient body. So normally we do not do any disturb to the disturb. But let's say in this area, the patient measurement was 50 centimeter circumferential measurement at this particular level, and my measurement, initial measurement that I took is 55. So I know that I have to reduce overall global reduction in this area, global reduction in this all over area, so that it becomes almost 50 first. It should come to the 50, and then I will be reducing to the percentage reduction level in the particular area, otherwise all over. Okay. So my motto is not to disturb the shape, and therefore I am telling to reduce globally. Okay, reduce all over. Okay, because whatever shape that you have taken over the patient stump, we have loaded it, right? We have loaded it mediolaterally because we want compression in the mediolateral side mostly, and therefore if we reduce more on this side, the shape will change. But let's say when you are reducing from 55 to 50, that time you are reducing on the, let's say, just below the GP and reducing all over this area. Sometimes you have to reduce little more material, then you have to reduce from the area where there is more soft tissue, mostly in the back side. So from this area we reduce little more. So understand this fact that I did this mistake, that after removing of the plaster bandage, I must first removing some ridges of the dust, that removing them, then I first take the measurement, then I used to start our modification. In this case, this was a model. That day we don't have the measurement that day also, and therefore we were not able to compare it. Otherwise I would have definitely gone for, okay, we have this measurement doing any modification, right?
डेंट लगती है।
डेंट, हाँ डेंट का यूज आता है। लेकिन दूसरी बात ये थी कि यू शुड नो दिस, व्हेन यू आर डूइंग इट ओवर द पेशेंट, डेफिनेटली यू मस्ट फर्स्ट टेक द मेजरमेंट. Okay, at present note down the measurement on your mobile or something, or you just are recording, right? So our measurements are, at present our measurements are like, that day we had taken this measurement,
Yes, I did.
right?
Yes.
We are
We check the measurement.
okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir, in brown paper.
Huh?
Sir, we already taken brown paper.
One or two. Okay, not all. Okay, 43.5 is the first measurement. Just you can say our first measurement was 4 centimeters below the lowest point of the IT, and that measurement is 43.5 at present. We have already reduced something from the lateral posterior aspect that day, right? We know that our this measurement may be reduced value. Next measurement 43. Next measurement 42.5. Then it is 41.2. Then it's 40 or 39.9. Then it is 37.5. Then it is 35.8. And then the last measurement just because the leg is starting here, it is 35.4. Okay, so these are the measurement of the mold. So I must check with respect to our model what is the volume of film in these sides, and then only we will be able to finalize our modification. So most important part that day I just told you was basically the main steps of modification is to keep the medial wall horizontal with the ground, and then just keep your draw knife at an angle of approximately 45 for the male. In the female it should be lesser angle just because the ramus is going more and more laterally, so the angle will be lesser. Otherwise in the male it should be more angled 45 degree, and you must reduce from the posterolateral aspect. Basically we just try to reduce in this area because there is large of material, large soft tissue are there, and in this way we are really de-shaping, right? So during the casting this area is also loaded, then you will understand that we are not reducing much, only we are making it uniform. Otherwise it will appear like we are reducing much, but if during casting if you have loaded it at this area, you will find this is very much reduced. You can easily reduce this area because post-frontal and between the ischial ramus, this area is very much cavity area. That means between the pelvic bone and the trochanter, this area is very much, there is no muscle, muscle is there, therefore it is very much pocket, kind of pocket condition. So therefore we can easily reduce in this area. And then it must be made continuing with the measurement as I said regarding your reduction value. So you have to do the measurement just below the IT, first measurement, what is the measurement, and percentage reduction, come to that measurement value. Once you get this circumferential tight measurement once, then you must, then you must go for this medial side shaping. Now medial side shaping is the hands में curve रखा है, और curve रखने के चलते IT was sitting here. Point is that so it's kind of a trajectory, right? This angle is going more and more anterior, trying to cover up the ramus. So therefore you can see it's containing as much as of the ramus. So a ramus must be somewhere here. So this must be the ramus area, and lowest point is something here you can say. So this lowest point is already being relieved. Okay. So this ischia area is being loaded by the bandage and by the person pressure hand, the primary person's load. So this load is here. I hope it's clear. Overall, it's your practice. You your interest. At least you know the principle of modification, that's important. And see, we are not doing anything in this area where we have used our fingers to give pressure or do the containment. We are not doing anything into it, just giving the border lines to it and smoothing it. We do not want to reduce it further, nor we want to add any material. We are just giving the trim lines and adding at the distal point. At the distal point that the anterior person was feeling. That point, if we can really mark it. Problem is, you may be missing that point. Just because after casting because your marking may be missing somewhere, and therefore the lowest point maybe you miss it to be a little more anterior or posterior. There may be a possibility. Only this hand can stay. This suppose primary person's hand. This hand is rigidly kept during the casting and it is in the rigid condition. So you know that after the covering of this area, it must come down because this is the point where the anterior person's hand must be, because this was like this. So it's covered as much of this area and the lowest point is somewhere in the lowest point this area. Let's say. So this is the covering. As much of this is being covered and this is the lowest the anterior person's hand, which is the lowest point he is feeling here. So that point you are adding in this area. Therefore covering and going down. Okay. So that going anterior was distal as much as cover and then going down. So cover, going down, and how much going down depending upon your understanding of how much will be enough. Normally we just add about 5 mm, it may be enough, or maybe it's half inches it can go down. So that to reduce any chance of loading on the lowest point. And see, the surface, this posteromedial aspect of the area where you are really giving the catch, this catch area, just below it should not be abrupt. It should be smoothing down, flattened wall. Just because this area you are loading the soft tissue of the posteromedial aspect, that is adductor musculature, all these areas are being loaded, right? The hamstring muscle, the adductor muscle, these areas are there. So this must be loaded, flattened. So I am giving loading on the soft tissue, not on the ramus of the barrier. I am doing nothing there, just because I just want to contain it. So I am just giving flattening on the soft tissue. So if I am measuring the volume of our model, then I can ensure that whether I need to reduce little more or just make it smooth is enough. Overall, try to save the shape. That's most important principle. Shape should not be disturbed as much as possible. And learning, when you say that someone who is very much expert in modification, you will, if you ever be with someone who is really expert, mostly in the private sectors, you will find that they say to do minimum change in the shape. Whatever your modification is, do it during the casting only. That is the time, that is the point of time when you are interfacing patient. So that time, whatever you can do, and if you can make the trial socket that day only, that will be the best. So that way it's very difficult in our place because we are in a training institute and our patient, we just make them little delay from our side, just because there is a training of the students, they require time. And at the same time services to be given, right? So sometimes it's getting delayed and it's not possible in the same day that we get the trial done. But if you do this, your confidence increases. Certain area is very soft and certain area is very harder because we have added some material in the dents that are getting harder. So it's difficult to make that flatten. Let's say do only little bit of reduction and then wait for your measurement of our model. So we have to really get his measurement in order to do the vacuum molding of this in order to check. So after getting his measurement, then only I can be final. I will be making it final. Maybe what I have done till now, it is too much reduced, so that even after opening this area, his leg cannot go. Let's say if I open it, it should go in a particular way. If I cut it open like posterior like this, it should go. Only in the brim area, he must feel the load. That's what our goal is, right? To create a brim. So if we can create a brim with opening in the posterior side, so that he can easily push his leg into this brim, so that this area is loaded. For that reason, we require this measurement, right? So definitely you have to get the measurement only at least up to this area. We need the measurement. After that, because we are opening it, so we need not to have any measurement in this area. We require measurement only in this area and not in this area. At present, we are not doing any modification in this area. We can even go for the modification in this area also. If the modification is to be done in this area, casting ऐसा डेंट कैसे आया? ये तो डेंट
कास्टिंग से वो पुरान के वजह से
main thing you all please listen and again and understand that your precautions, that you take the measurement over the patient and you just try to compare it with the positive mold, just it as it open. Second is to keep the shape as much as same, do not change the shape. Okay, so that you get the loading proper. Patient will be more comfortable. And then finally, important is to have the brim position, how it will be. Let's just discuss this thing. So our lowest point, whatever our lowest point was, I have added material so that I am showing, let's say this was the lowest point. Because from the lowest point, we know this is 4 centimeter. First measurement was 4 centimeter down, right? So let's say, if this is the lowest, our first measurement, that means circumferential measurement, let's say 4 centimeters, almost this position. So this is our lowest point, let's say. If this is our lowest point, that means the lowest point of the ischium. If this is the lowest point, from there we will be taking all the brim level measurement. So how much containment of the ischium? It depends so much upon how much you are really catching, right? Your hand trajectory is going from posterior, person is as much as high is going. So how much he is able to catch the ramus, right? So normally if it is 2 centimeter, then also it's containing. But if you have a flexible brim, right? Our plastic is not flexible brim. Our plastic is not. It's a rigid brim. So if we normally what we do, we give some Ethaflex foam in order to make the more soft in this area. Otherwise, normally there should be a flexible plastic. If it is a flexible plastic, then you will find that patient you can cover this area more, right? So normally you can, like let's say here it's covering at most 4 centimeter almost. So containment is almost 4 centimeter in the posteromedial side. On the posterior side we have gone down. Although if we cover it on the same height of the posteromedial, that means the posterior side is covered to the same level of the posteromedial. Posterior side covered to the same level of the posteromedial. In that case it will be ischial ramus containment. Otherwise it is just a ramal containment. So here our design is ramal containment only, and therefore we are uncovering or not covering, our brim is going down. To what level? To the level of crease, gluteal crease. The gluteal crease is going down. On the lateral side, it's covering as much as from our lowest point on the posteromedial aspect. It's covering approximately 10 centimeters, right? 10 centimeters approx. How much inches? 3.5. So on the lateral side we are covering almost 10 centimeters, and then going anteriorly, where is the anterior border? Where the ASI is. So let's say our ASI is wherever it was, from there we will be going 4 centimeters down and we will put a point. That point is our point from where the anterior wall starts, and then it will be flattened. See, it's going down here, then it's flat. The line or trim line is almost flatter. And then gradually it's going down towards the adductor tendon in the medial side. And then where is our lowest point here? It's very much clear by our cast. During casting your this area of wrap is done. So this is very much clear about the lowest point. There is a diagram drawn in the manual that was given to you. In that diagram, they have shown that from their 4 centimeters down, then they did something. Just see that I forgotten. So there must be some particular geometry they have utilized to say how to decide it. But the simple thing is that you are going down in the ASIS area, almost 4 centimeters down from the ASIS is 4 centimeters down is the border, posterolateral border. From there the anterior wall is getting flatter because you want to cover as much as of the anterior side of the gluteal crease. The gluteal crease is almost ASIS. From there the symphysis tissue, this is the gluteal crease or inguinal crease, the inguinal crease, so that we are covering as much as without causing any hindrance to the flexion, right? And then we are going down towards the adductor. In the medial side, that means this is the posteromedial. In the medial side, important is knowing where is the lowest point, adding some material so that it becomes more down, right? So we have made it down, just where is our lowest point, where we have added half inch material so that it is more down, and then just continue with our whatever brim line created during the casting, we are continuing with that. So you will see that it's almost like a Y shape, isn't it? Kind of a Y. If you see this, so it's kind of a Y. Here is a one wing, another wing is this. So kind of a V created. V. So it's kind of a V created with a little bit anterior look. We are trying to cover more of the posteromedial ramus, and therefore V is little bit anterior tilted, right? So it's like this. Okay. So I'm trying to save, or you can say the कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते. We will be just adding some material in this area because it's dent. Just in the dent area, add some material, and then we will just complete it. Sorry, Naya. No more there. What is this? Just right. And then this measurement I am getting is 78.5. Okay. Now another measurement I will be taking. I will just find out the patella. Where is the patella? And then knowing that his patella is not dislocated, and then I will be just putting one line on the lateral aspect, mid patella. Okay, patella midpoint. I will just try to find out the mid patella line, not mid patella tendon line. Okay, mid patella line. I am just getting one line drawn. This is our axis position of our knee axis, right? So our knee axis position is at this level. So from there I will take the vertical measurement, keeping my measurement tape vertical. This is 46.4, you can say. Okay, so I have the measurement of IT to floor and knee to floor. So I have the other measurement, need not to measure it. Okay, what is that measurement? IT to knee. IT to knee measurement is important because length of the stump is short, then you have to extend to the extent of the knee axis. But the knee axis means the system of the knee joint also has got some length, right? Your knee joint has got a system. So system height you have to cut from the IT to the system height. Okay, system height upper portion you have to measure, you have to extend the plaster. or get the socket extension done to that level. Okay, now this is the measurement, and then now we will be taking measurement. घूम जाओ. So we think that this is our liner. So over the liner we are going to take the measurements. So where our first measurement, I will just first try to find out the lowest point, and I will draw a line, horizontal line, right? So this is the lowest point. I am just putting this is scale at the lowest point. If I don't have that outside caliper, right, then also I can do this. So I will just try to find out it, because this is cloth, there is chance of some changing. So this is the lowest point. I will just mark it. Okay, so this is the lowest point of the IT that I have marked on the lateral side, and then I will go 4 cm down, first measurement. 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. So this is the first measurement that I am going to take now. 45.3. Yes, 3, 4. 45.3 is our first measurement, right? Again, see, when I measured again, it is coming 45.5. So this is something, little bit your placement of your tape, you can do some changes, right? There is the measurement point. अच्छा ये उठा देन यस सर, तो फिर अच्छे से करते हैं. तो अच्छे से करने का मतलब है, नीड द टॉप सरफेस हॉरिजॉन्टल, राइट? द टॉप सरफेस मस्ट बी मेड हॉरिजॉन्टल, and I must make it horizontal, and then I will place it beneath the IT, and I will mark on the lateral side that level. Okay, mark me there. So I am just marking on the lateral side the lowest point of the IT, right? Right? This is the lowest point. Once I have this, then I will be going 4 cm down. That will be first measurement, and then equal distances down. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Now, first measurement, our first circumferential measurement. I am not taking measurement just beneath the IT, because that measurement is, we are not trying to change, we will keeping it same. So this measurement is 45. First measurement came 45. Second measurement is coming 43.8. Yes.
सर यही तो सर स्केलेटल लेना है जो
स्केलेटल और सॉफ्ट टिश्यू एमएल.
सॉफ्ट टिश्यू सर इसकी
स्केलेटल एमएल कौन सा बोल रहे हो?
फर्स्ट
स्केलेटल एमएल ये और ये किसके बीच में होगा? दिस विल बी द स्केलेटल एमएल. जस्ट बिकॉज इधर मीडियल साइड से रैमस को लोड करोगे, लैटरल साइड से जस्ट एट द सेम हॉरिजॉन्टल लेवल.
सर वो
द शाफ्ट
सर सेम है, हॉरिजॉन्टल में है.
दिस ओके, दिस मेजरमेंट
सर ये और ये
उसके लोएस्ट पॉइंट पे है, आईटी के लोएस्ट पॉइंट पे है, उससे थोड़ा सा ऊपर होगा. ये जो आप लोड करोगे ना, इट विल जस्ट अबाउ दिस लाइन. जस्ट बिकॉज द लोएस्ट, हम लोग को तो लोएस्ट पॉइंट पे लाइन ड्रॉ किया ना. सो इफ यू जस्ट ट्राई टू कैच द रैमर्स, इट विल बी लिटिल हायर. Okay, first take the measurement, then we will be discussing. Okay, the measurement. Okay, measurement done?
Yes, it's
3 done. Let's see again, 45. Measurement change or not? 45 I said now. Change, na? Yes, this is something you will find that just because your loading a method or something, so you have to come with 2 measurement at least, and then you have to try to mean average term. Measurement 44. Next measurement 44. So third measurement is 42.3. What was that? Yes. Fourth measurement 39.5. And then 36.5. And then 33. Okay, this much we have taken measurement. Now skeleton ml. Just तुम जो ऐसे हो जाओ प्रोडक्शन में
सर
Yes, इसको हॉरिजॉन्टल पे ड्रॉप किया. I just hit at the line. देखो सेम लेवल है.
सर वही तो स्केलेटल है
इसके जस्ट ऊपर होगा स्केलेटल एमएल क्योंकि स्केलेटल एमएल यू आर लोडिंग जस्ट ऑन द रैमस नॉट द लोएस्ट पॉइंट ना. रैमस पे लोड कर रैमस जस्ट उसके ऊपर है ना. हम तो ये लोएस्ट पॉइंट को मार्क किया राइट. उसका जस्ट बोल सकते हो ऑलमोस्ट सेम है. हाँ राइट. नाउ जस्ट आई एम गोइंग टू गिव द दिस skeleton ml ले रहे हैं. So skeleton ml what we are doing on the medial side, keeping our scale almost in the coronal plane, loading from the medial side on the ramus, asking patient whether I am really loading on the ramus. Yes. And then your scale is horizontal and you are loading on the lateral side. So this is the measurement. Now how to keep this measurement maintained, just know this, that this is the marking here. Outside marking is coming out to be 13 at the 13, right? So outside marking, this is not the measurement. So measurement we will be measuring from inside. What was the tape measurement that we will take? At present we are seeing this is the compression I am giving. With this compression, I know this measurement is the measurement. So this is the ramus that was loaded from the medial side, and this is the angled one, but at the same level. What is this measurement? Just measure it. Change it.
सर अब तो यहाँ से घूम रहे हो.
This is 9.5. Okay, 9.5 is the ml skeleton.
स्केलेटल ये करो ml स्केलेटल 9.5 सेंटीमीटर.
Right. Now ml soft tissue is at least 4 centimeter down. So our first measurement level, at that measurement our soft tissue ml. So I'm just loading it, keeping my scale in the coronal plane, compressing, asking patient to do the muscle tightness. Muscle tight रखो. Okay. So it is coming out to be 14.5. So I'm keeping it in the 14.5 position and again measuring the tape measurement.
ये सॉफ्ट टिश्यू है, अब जो ले रहे हैं.
हाँ हाँ soft tissue ml.
और ये है तुम्हारा 9.5 स्केलेटल है.
This is 11.5. Okay.
11.5 सेंटीमीटर.
So this is our two measurement. One was our ml skeleton, another was our soft tissue ml that we have measured. And another AP was already taken that day. AP we have, right?